Ancapistan, Chapter 1. Eddie Brooks wakes to the sound of a chiming alarm. It's the Prime video theme. His eyes snap open. Eddie rolls out of bed. His grimy 2 cubic meter Amazon Prime pod is filled with light as the artificial sun projected onto the 31 flavors ice wall on the outskirts of Mix City 8 slowly rises further and further into the sky. As Eddie dons his blue-striped Prime Kevlar, he looks over to his calendar to see that it is only Keep It Fresh Thursday. Damn, only 3 days left of the Nestle royalty election. I hope the left Twixites don't win this time. Little did Eddie know that the underground Primebot syndicate he owed his gene chip to were currently under attack from the half-human, half-machine Nestle Chocobots. Many people feared the Chocobots, but not many know why. One Amazon cage driver said that he witnessed the Chocobots snap the neck of an unregistered battery slave that wandered into the road and promptly throw it into a trash can. An Amazon drone pilot is quoted as saying, "There's just something not right about those machines. They look at you with their cold metallic eyes and it's almost like you know that they hate everything. That's not Prime behavior." The reports on the Chocobots were primarily collected as a warning to bystanders that might happen to see one. There was even a brain advertisement ran with a little jingle that said something like, "Don't go near the Chocobots or you'll end up in a box." It was uninspired, but they weren't exaggerating. Not many of your average battery slaves know this, but the Chocobots are extremely aggressive and show malice toward every human being. The answer to this secret lies in the formula for the chocolate supermilk that the Chocobot pilots are administered. It contains large doses of methamphetamines and PCP, but it also contains massive amounts of calories in order to keep the Chocobots sustained and efficient. Eddie was not concerned about the Chocobots. He wasn't even concerned about the ongoing sovereign shopping cart war. Eddie was concerned about his position. He had already installed an Amazon Brain Price module, which is only awarded to the most dedicated of Amadrones, showing his dedication to the Hive Company. But he had not been raised up yet. This confused him. Eddie felt that he deserved a promotion. He had paid his dues, stuck his face in the mud, and burrowed with the rest of the drones. Eddie, however, felt that he was better. Not only in terms of sales ability, but of class as well. He was born from better stock. Eddie looked out at the morning sun projection as he swallowed his protein paste and lukewarm coffee. Damn Starbucks coffee cartels. If only the Dutch Bros Alliance had won the Brazilian Bean War. Though it may not seem like it, Eddie's parents come from money. One of the first families to settle on the Mars B&B colony. This was before faster-than-light technology was discovered in the late 21st century. The thought that those Ice Cube geezers screwed me out of my inheritance often occurred to Eddie. Through a series of bad investments in Mick militias, Eddie's father had completely ruined his family's wealth. Before, Eddie had lived in a penthouse manor above the toxic cloud level. They didn't even need air recyclers up there. It was beautiful. Eddie finished his breakfast and left his grungy Prime pod, the smell of an unwashed Fent fiend hitting his nose as he walked down the hallway. "Hiya, Eddie." Shit, Eddie thought as he turned around to face what could have once been perceived as a human, but now resembled a sort of walking billboard. George. George's body was covered in moving advertisements, mainly from the Amazon Syndicate, and a few for the Infinite IKEA based on the moon. "You don't need a refresher course on our FaceTime with Bill later, do you?" George said. "No, I remember. I've got the vouchers still," Eddie replied. Good. I just thought we should touch base and get our bearings straight. We aren't reinventing the wheel here." From his accent, you could tell that George was an ex-executive. Eddie hated that accent. "Like I said, I've got the vouchers." "Great then. Just wanted to drop a pin in that before you left for work." George extended his hand. A large ad for Dasani water covered it. Eddie shook it. As Eddie withdrew his hand, he found the slight imprint of the words, Dasani. We've got the only springs left. Once, Eddie's father had almost made it. He made good financial decisions and rose above the stink of the lower world. This only lasted a few years before his investments started to run dry. Once Eddie's father had truly broken and gone corrupt, he and Eddie's mother and sister were forced to give kidneys to the McTerminators, McDonald's debt collection squad. "It's all right," he said. "Once I make it big again, we can just buy new ones." Eddie's father's senseless optimism had always bothered Eddie. He didn't like how the chipper old dad would be after he had just had a huge loss. It was like he was trying to lose all of his money. In truth, you couldn't have had worse luck than Eddie's father. Jack Brooks, despite being a loyal son and grandson to his wealthy family, was only the second loyal son and grandson, and after the Gene Copyright Act of 2085, received no inheritance when his parents died. It instead went to his twin brother, John, born only minutes ahead of him. Eddie resented his father for being born second. It meant that he would be, rather than one of the haves, a have-not. If only that damn old man had been born 5 minutes earlier, I wouldn't be in this mess. Eddie, like many of Mix City 8's residents, was a chronic blamer. He blamed others for his misfortunes, never taking personal responsibility for his actions. In many cases, he would be right. If the Mix City Wars hadn't divided the planet into 16 independent megacities, Eddie would probably be living the high life, as these wars could have made or broken Eddie's father. Unfortunately, they broke him. Jack had hedged his bets on the wrong side, and he paid the price. After his side lost, the McTerminators took everything Jack had, including his life. Eddie often wondered if bad luck was hereditary, or if they had somehow implanted something in his brain to just make his life worse. They had. It was called an Amazon drone chip. This ensured that no matter what he did, Eddie would always owe his life and livelihood to Amazon. He would always be an Amazon drone. On the bright side, Eddie was provided for. He had a semi-comfortable place to live, food and water, and he was able to relax every once in a while. In truth, Eddie didn't mind slaving away for Amazon. His work was fine, and his 18-hour shift was typically canceled out by his dream chip. Just press the button on his right temple and drift off into La La Land while you work. What Eddie was not looking forward to was the meeting he had scheduled after work. The PrimeBot Syndicate was a ruthless organization, and Eddie was in deep. George was merely a soldier for the PrimeBots. They were the ones who fronted the cash for his dream chip. The only thing they asked for in return were 6 months of meal vouchers at the Amazon factory. Eddie didn't much like the food at the Amazon factory, but it certainly kept one alive. It had an excess of calories and nutrients. It was for efficiency. What the general public didn't know about the Amazon protein paste, and the PrimeBot cartel did, was that there were dangerously high amounts of Ritalin infused into the food. It being an exclusively corporate drug, Ritalin was extremely valuable in the black market. Eddie's vouchers would pay for his dream chip 10 times over. Eddie no longer possessed the vouchers. Due to the artificial sun, the rulers of Mix City 8 determined that the most efficient amount of daylight would be 38 hours. This would give the lucky workers enough time to finish a short 18-hour shift, pour protein paste down their gullet, and watch some mandatory brain advertisements and get a full night of sleep. They did not bother projecting a moon, as the light at nighttime did not contribute to efficiency. In fact, the only thing the light did during the day was psychologically manipulate drones into thinking the sun was up. The sun, in fact, went up and down twice in the time that it took for the artificial one to cycle once. The reason being that the Walmart asteroid wars had diverted enough asteroids into the Earth to knock it off axis. Needless to say, they won. Target was eliminated.